Hi, my name is Glenn Workman, the owner of PestOut, and what I'd like to talk about today is moisture control, specifically how it relates to a crawl space and how it affects termites, wood-destroying fungus, and some other powder-post beetles and old house borers. In the crawl spaces around here in Virginia, we're in the Tidewater area of Virginia, we have a lot of problems with moisture, and so we've become experts here in this area on moisture control and how to spot it and how to prevent it and how to treat it if it's active and going on right now. The reason moisture collects underneath the house usually is because it either enters the foundation in a liquid form or through vapors or some sort of condensation. Some of the things that we look at, and first and foremost, we want to do a good quality inspection to find out what's going on around the perimeter of the house, as well as a crawl space if you have one, get underneath there. A tool that we have here that we really use a lot is a moisture meter. Now, it's tough. There can be some indicators on the outside of the wood that would let you know if there's moisture, but they're not always accurate. And sometimes moisture is intermittent depending on the season of the year. So this tool helps us really determine. What we do is two prongs. We actually penetrate that into the wood, and it measures the degree of moisture. In the yellow and the green is up to about 15%. That's the safe zone. That's healthy lumber. When you start getting around 17 to 19%, that's cautionary. And then 20% and above, the moisture content is where you're going to be getting into some trouble. That's going to be the beginning of what we call non-decay fungus can grow at around the 20 percentile range. Now, at approximately 28%, your wood decay fungus can grow in those high moisture conditions. When that grows, then there's wood rot, and it can rapidly overtake lumber. So a couple of areas that we look for moisture and where it comes from. We want to go to the source. There are a lot of companies out there that are really addressing the symptoms of moisture and not correcting the source. We can do both, but we prefer to educate our clients and let them know, give them a long-term option and a short-term option as far as remediation goes. There are a couple places where humidity will be able to occur in the crawl space. One is going to be your the condensation or moisture vapor that comes from the ground and vaporizes up in the form of humidity underneath the house. Now, that's pretty easily fixed with a good quality moisture barrier laid down correctly. What I mean by laid down correctly is you don't want to have open spaces, a lot of open spaces underneath the crawl space. You want to have a good thick grade, at least 6 millimeters of poly underneath the house. And probably the most important thing is it needs to be secured properly to the soil so that years from now, when other inspectors or plumbers or HVAC contractors go underneath, it won't move around, and it'll stay in place and do its job to block out moisture. Most of your building codes now in this area are requiring a vapor barrier on the ground, and so that's how important it is. The second place that moisture can, or condensation can actually start to form is from the ductwork, and that's going to be typically ductwork that's either leaky, actually leaking air, or does not have the proper or insulation to block the transfer of heat through the ductwork. So we look at the ductwork system. Now, we don't do an air test, but we do a visual inspection of the ductwork, and we can tell how much moisture is, there's some indicators that will give us a key. One is, if it's in the summertime, we'll actually feel the bottom of the fiberglass or the insulation. If it's filled with water, we know there's a real big problem and that we need to address that first. The corrective action for that would be to either replace the entire ductwork, or you can replace part of it, reseal it, and re-insulate parts, depending on the situation. That is kind of our first part about moisture control. I'm going to speak on our next video about some of the other areas that moisture or water will enter into the foundation and how we correct that. Thank you.